because you could be dancing in friend zone land for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Terry or Theresia, and in today's video I just wanted to speak to you guys about dating and making friends in Germany. I get quite a few questions from you guys asking what it's like, and I think it's definitely a very valid question. It's not like dating and making friends in Germany is like this unique phenomenon, but it definitely is, I guess, a bit interesting if you're moving or you're thinking about moving or just in general interested to see what it's like, my experience. So like, why not just share? And I think it definitely is a valid fear, maybe concern, just because it's new territory. You have no idea what to expect, and I mean, things aren't like that different, a new city, but it is a bit tricky, and that's why I think I want to share my thoughts, my little 2 cents on the topic. So if you're interested, let's keep going. Now, just to be honest, I personally don't have the biggest or the most extensive experience as it relates to dating in Germany, I'm gonna be honest. So a lot of what I will be telling you will be kind of from what I've heard from my friends and the little bit of experience that I do have. Ultimately, most people really do, like in most other places I think, meet significant others through mutual friends, or if you happen to be working somewhere, more than likely you spend a lot of time together, you're going to end up being together. As it relates to making friends, there's just a brief side note. I have a friend who's from Munich, and she was even saying that it kind of can be difficult. She's heard from people who've moved to Munich to make friends because most people here have gone to primary school with people they've known from kindergarten, then they go to gymnasium together and university sometimes. So most people kind of already have their friends groups, and they're not actively searching for new friends, which is something that if you're moving here, definitely be the first one to make the move. I'm personally not like that, and especially I think as an only child, I don't need friends. I don't need people necessarily around me. Of course, I love it and going out. I mean, I think you guys have noticed from the Munich Guide videos that I do enjoy going out for a coffee. If you're following me on Instagram, if you're not, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I post there fairly regularly. And so for those things, of course, it's nice to have people that you can talk to and these things, but I'm not the type of person to actively go out and like try to make a friend. But I think that will definitely be an asset if you are, and even if you're not that type of person, I think I can pull that out of myself to just make that first move. Like, what's the worst that could happen? They could say, I'm not really interested, or what? I mean, it's not that big a deal. Especially you coming to this new city, be brave, like go ahead, just make that first step, because in a sense, most people are a bit more closed off or a bit colder to get to know even after a while. Like, it takes chipping away at that little shell to get to that core, but definitely will be worth it. So definitely don't be afraid to make the first move. So the thing about dating, usually through people that you know, and that's again also how you would make friends. Recently, I really realized how big a thing Tinder is, or even Badoo. There's not to say that everybody's using Tinder or anything, but for research purposes, I did download Tinder, and I actually was going through, and I saw people who were in my classes, who I would, like, different cafes that I've been to. I'm like, but I know you from somewhere, and it's like, oh crap, yeah, you gave me my coffee one time. So it does seem like that's a big way to meet people, especially if you have work and school. Nowadays especially, it's extremely hard to meet people. So actually having an app for that is definitely very, very useful. And I saw that one of my favorite bloggers on Instagram actually started using Tinder. I think it was like a sponsored collaboration where she was using Tinder to meet friends. So not just even people in terms of dating, but as it relates to meeting new people. Because she moved to a new city and she didn't know anybody, and there were certain things that she wanted to test out, but she didn't have anybody to test those out with. So through Tinder, she was able to meet a girl, and they did like that whole day trip together. So that in a sense is kind of sad to admit, but I think that is really the future, the current state of things, that through social media is a big way how you meet people. Even through Instagram, like a majority of people who I'm friendly with, I have met or become closer with through Instagram. Realize that you have certain things in common with people that you might see every day, but you never really thought of before. Or it's not like you go around masquerading and showing everybody, oh, this is what I'm interested in. Are you interested in this too? But through social media, you have that opportunity to kind of showcase what you like through your stories, through your pictures. In terms of making friends, there are groups on Facebook like Neue in München, that are really, really good. Most people who are new to the group, write a little description about yourself, say how old you are, what your name is, where you're from, what your interests are, how long you've been in Munich. And if people feel kind of intrigued by what you wrote, they can reach out and send you a message. I actually did meet one girl for a drink through that Facebook group, and she was really, really cool, following each other on Instagram now. Obviously, because of work, sometimes it can be tricky to meet up with people regularly, but that's another outlet, and I think that is something that you guys should really utilize, especially if you're really, really new or you want to work on your language skills. There are definitely a lot of other groups on Facebook that have like regular meetups, so that you can practice, you can meet people. And I think that is so valuable. Even there's one girl who wrote in that group, and I realized that I actually had a few friends in common with her. She said that she was born and raised in Munich, but still felt kind of lost. And that's not to say anything about Munich, but it's just interesting that I think from city to city, it doesn't matter if you're new or if you've been here your whole life, sometimes you just kind of need that extra push to meet people. And that's what I'm saying, like, especially if you're coming here and you're new, don't be shy. Like, reach out if you're working somewhere, if you're going to school or in a class and you see somebody that you think could be interesting, reach out. There's no harm in that. And that kind of relates to dating as well, whereas it's kind of tricky to know if somebody likes you. I'm not saying somebody like that, but I think this is very, very tricky. Not to sound like, I don't want to generalize, because no two German guys are the same or two German girls are going to be the same. But in general, I think people really do place importance on friendship first, and then seeing if there would be a basis for a relationship, even if they're attracted to you. I've had that happen to me where I had no idea, none whatsoever. We hung out, but for me that wasn't a date. And so it only came out afterwards. They're like, oh, but what happened back then? I was like, what do you mean what happened back when? They're like, oh, but I liked you. I was like, how the hell was I supposed to know? The date was really it just seemed so platonic to me, at least, and I don't have that much experience even from Tobago. So I'm like, oh, oops. So you kind of have to try to really, really pay attention. That's what I'm saying. If there's somebody that you really like or you're really interested in, don't be shy to even ask the question, because I know that there's that stereotype that Germans are very, very direct. Don't be shy. If you think there might be something between you, like, you could kind of hint at it, or you could just kind of flat out say, I kind of like you. Would you like to go get a drink? Or you don't have to say I like you, but just like hint towards more of a romantic type of situation, because you could be dancing in friend zone land for a while, and who has the time for that? I think though, if the person has like a background from somewhere, like a foreign background, or has traveled extensively and kind of knows how things happen elsewhere, they might be more direct in letting you know that they like you in a romantic, sexual type of way, not just, oh, could we be friends and see where this goes, kind of. But I do think, especially like from the German guy perspective, just from me and how I've observed it, they don't just treat women like you're mine to be conquered. You're not just mine to have. I respect you, like you as who you are. Like, you're smart, you're intelligent, all these different things. So a lot of those typical cliches of like, oh, let me hold the door for you, let me pay for you, you're the woman, you're my princess, I have to cater to you. That's not really going to happen unless you have a really like traditional guy or he's had a lot of experience elsewhere. I don't think that is really, no. Unless, again, he has like a foreign background or, as I said before. But again, this is not to generalize. This is just from my observation. So, which I think in a sense is very good, because then you don't fall into those stereotypes of these gender roles of what a woman is supposed to do, a guy is supposed to do, which in 2018 is quite refreshing and good. Not refreshing, but I think it is part of the time. But I think if you are more into traditional dating scenarios, I don't know. But because I kind of sometimes have an issue when guys pay for me, but then if he doesn't offer at least to pay for me, it's just very tricky, because, that also says a lot about a guy. If, I don't know, but then for him to always pay for me, I kind of feel like, well, what, am I, a child? But it's just very, very tricky, I don't know, it's really difficult. So I think you have to know exactly what you want, what you like, especially as a guy too. I don't think a lot of German girls will expect you to pay for things for them. They won't expect you to like baby them. but they wouldn't. I have a friend she's very direct. She also had a date coming up, and she was just saying like, from his side, things were going a bit slow, she felt. And she was going to be like, yo, this is our third date. She was going to be direct and go for it. And I think it just shows that she was not feeling, okay, I'm the girl, I'm going to have to sit back and do this. If I want to kiss you or I want to take things the next step, I'm going to do it. So the gender roles are not as traditional or as stereotypical here, I think, as you might expect them to maybe be, or as you're accustomed to them being. So I think I kind of tackled the meat of the matter. Ways to meet people, social media, Tinder, Facebook, through work, through colleagues, through mutual friends. Don't be afraid to make the first move. Life is short, go for it. Making friends, same thing. Don't be afraid. Reach out to people that you think you might have common interests with. If you guys are both into photography, if you're both into modeling, reach out. That is really the true new wave of things. And trying to just stick to, oh, I have no friends, nobody to kind of talk to, it's not really going to get you far, especially if you're new. It could take a while before you really find Anschluss. Anschluss finden, they even have a term. It's like truly finding or making connections. So don't wait around too long for that, because especially in Munich, where people are typically or generalized to be a bit more reserved or a bit colder as it relates to meeting new people and opening up, you're just going to have to take the plunge. Dive in, go for it, live your life. It's either yes or no, and it's a beautiful city, so even if you don't have a friend to do something with, you'll go out, you'll still meet people. It's not the end of the world. You're going to be fine. If you have any more questions, let me know. Message me on Instagram. Again, as I said, please follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to build the family up there as well. And yeah, I will see you in my next video.